Hey guys, Jeremy, National Fire Radio from the floor at FDIC 2021 in Indianapolis. We're in the Snap-Tight hose booth. Snap-Tight has been a strong supporter of National Fire Radio, our podcast and our content, and they've become good friends. And so today we took a little bit of their real estate to sit down with some friends, some old friends and some new friends that we're going to chat with today. But I'm honored to be sitting here today. I have two gentlemen with me that I'm just going to sit back and listen because I don't have much to bring to this conversation today. I want to introduce to everybody watching and listening. To my left and your right is District Chief Mike Phillips from the Houston Fire Department. 39 years on the line, still going up on roofs and still supporting the brothers and sisters. Mike, thank you for being here. Truly honored to meet you. And to my right, your left, is a gentleman that probably many know. Always smiling, always humble, and loves the job. District Chief Mo Davis, 26 years with the Houston Fire Department. I consider you a dear friend.
Yes, sir.
We got to spend some more time together the last few days, and I'm spoiled to be able to do that, to surround myself with just great people. Mo, you came to me and said, listen, I got an opportunity here. Let's do this.
Yes.
And the reason why is for you having 26 years as a very hands-on, active district chief down in Houston, mentorship's important to you.
It is.
And for that, here we are sitting next to one of your mentors.
Sure is, 100%. I could sit here for a week and not tell you how important he is to me. You know, growing up in the department, I worked around good people. I always had good people. You know, you look at Chief Phillips, Chief Hooker, you got your Millers, you got these guys you wanted to be around. And whenever I was a young guy in the fire department, they sent me to paramedic school.
Right.
Man, it just heart broke me because I always wanted to be a fireman. And so then I went to a busy place, got to know busy people, and then you start hearing about Chief Phillips. You start following him. You start, you know, there's no social media back then.
Right,
so it's just word of mouth.
Yep,
you know,
sure, of
and
course.
So then, you know, you just fall in love with these guys. And then his dad, man, that's a whole nother story we could talk about. But I was, and I hope I can put myself in their category. I was drawn to those good people. And we were talking this morning. I would never let this man down. I don't care if he told me to chew through a door, I'd chew through a door because I would never do anything to let him down. I respect him so much, and he'll never even know what he means to me. And I hope I can say this, a lot of my fires are because of people like him and the other guys I mentioned, the Hookers and the Millers. You know, I put all these guys together, and I hope to do them proud whenever they leave.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Chief, I have to ask you, I mean, we met yesterday, and this is a humbling experience for me to be sitting here today. How hard is it to sit here and listen to that? Is it difficult for you to take that?
A little bit,
the
because
accolades,
I have so much respect for Mo.
So
I mean,
talk about
he's a
that.
great guy.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. I mean, you have a few more years than him on the job. He came into the job looking to go stretch lines and fight fires. I mean, that's what you wanted to do.
That's all I wanted to be.
Hard-hitting fireman.
All I ever wanted.
For you, that's all you wanted out of your people.
Yeah.
And to latch on, I mean, it's so important to find special people that you think emulate your beliefs and thought process and even your tactics and so on. Talk about hearing what Mo just said. I mean, Mo was really just boosted you up here. And this is incredible because for a gentleman like Mo and knowing how active and busy he is and how progressive and proactive he is in the fire service, you had a lot to do with that. Talk to me.
A little bit. I just kind of helped guide him a little bit. But he already had that passion, that drive in him, and that's what it takes. All you do is you want to latch onto that kind of person. And then we became friends instantly. And then from there on, we started sharing ideas and tactics, strategy, things in life. And then he just wanted to better himself. So I was lucky. My father was in the fire service 48 years.
Wow. In Houston?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
So, funniest man I've ever met. So I heard all the funny things, which, you know, kind of draws you towards the firehouse comedy and all. But he drove seven different deputy chiefs, and they always chose him. Well, there was a reason why, because of his respect level for these men. So even though he could tell the funny stories, he'd also let me know what was important in life, and that's following the legacy of these men.
Wow.
And sharing the information they have. So I was brought up that way under that regime, and then, you know, you take the best of somebody, and you see the worst of them too, and you kind of put that to the side.
Of course.
So you just you can't be that person. You just have to take that and ingrain it into your own beliefs, and then be as good as you can be. So then I meet Mo, and he's hungry for knowledge, and I'm just kind of spilling out whatever a little bit I know with him, and he's just taking off with it. He's become this great officer that he is today. This
For
great
sure.
chief, well respected, not only in Houston and his district, but nationwide. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, and I want to get a little bit of your backstory because I do know Mo's backstory and so on. I want to capture a little bit of yours. Being second generation fireman then, right?
Yes.
Your father was 48 years in Houston. You came in at a time in Houston where I have to think fire volume was pretty. I mean, you guys are consistently going to work. I mean, Houston's a
Sure.
fire town for sure. Still is.
It is.
But back then, I have to think it was hopping back then as well.
Oh, we were making back then. We were making about 4,200 fires a year.
Wow. Okay.
First came in,
Right.
And matter of fact, my first day on the job, they were teaching us how to make up the beds with the hospital corners, military style. And one of the guys told me his first day on the job. He says, "You know how to do this?" And I said, "No." So he showed me how to make up the beds. And he says, "You know, we don't sleep here." I said, "I thought we sleep at 9 o'clock at night." He says, "You can sleep at 9 o'clock at night, but we make a fire every night." And I thought, I said, I've heard, I've been around firefighters before. Okay. Well, we did. It was probably a month before we ever slept through the night.
Is that right?
Every night it was something rolling. So it was a good experience. My father wanted me to go there because there was really hardcore, strict officers who ingrained some values in me, the old school values, and showed me. And back then it wasn't about technology, it was about what you know so much. Like
Absolutely.
today's technology driven. So back then it was about experiences. So they shared those with me, and then that's what I want to do. I want to pass it along, give it to whoever I can. Because our fires, throughout the nation, they're declining now.
Sure.
Not as many, so we have to rely on training and rely on legacy.
That backstep training that you got when you came in, I mean, you're coming from a family, a father who was highly respected on the job, worked for probably some of the best chiefs in the department, right? And so on. And then for you to step into those shoes, and it sounds like your father was a strong mentor for you as well, following in his
Absolutely.
shoes, which were probably very big shoes to fill.
And Mo knew him as well.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Love the guy.
So Mo, give me a little backstory
So I'm gonna tell
on
you
that.
that-
Yeah, please.
I actually want to talk about him because I love that guy to death. So he was assigned downtown, and quite a bit older, and he drove my chief's brother. They would come out and eat with us, and it was always a pleasure. But he was so humble that he made you feel important. So even I was just this young guy, and he just opened his arms to me. And he would tell me stories and make me laugh. And you're afraid to laugh around these guys. Best story I have, he was giving out reflective tape. We'd go down there just to see him. We didn't need tape.
Right.
We just wanted to go see him.
Just be around
Just
him.
go see Mr.
Yeah.
Phillips. How
Right.
are you? And so I told him I need some. He goes, "How much you need?" I said, "Man, I don't know, Mr. Phillips." I said, "I'm just wrapping up that." And he goes, "Well, son, if you don't know, how am I supposed to know?" And so I was like, "Oh yeah, that's right." But he would always welcome you with open arms.
Right.
And he, as much as he knew and as much as he's done and all the famous, and he didn't drive chumps. He drove the guys.
Sure. Right.
He always had time for a guy like me to say, "Hey man," and I've told Chief Phillips this before. You never went to him in a bad mood that you didn't leave in a great mood. He was so unique in making every single person feel important.
How important is that? I mean, that is all about working for your people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, Chief. Talk about how important that is to. I know Mo. I had the ability. I had the fortune with Steve Sanguidoce, who's a dear
Yep.
friend of ours. Affordable Drill Towers. We were together in Texas. We came down. We saw Mo working, and we spent the day there. And you get this sense of not just that brotherhood and camaraderie, but there's such a high level of respect for the men and women, for the chiefs and the officers, but also from the officers on down. And too often, I think that's getting lost in this business now more than ever. How important is it for you to latch on to good people that support you and you support them and work for them?
Everybody's important.
Of course.
Everybody has a different role, but everybody's important. So it's a team play. So you have to make sure you include everybody. Don't segregate yourself from the firefighters and drivers and all. You're all on the same team. So make sure everybody knows that they're equally important. And I've told Mo one of the first things I told him is never forget where you come from.
Yeah,
That way you're always humble.
I love that.
Hey, can I add to that?
Yeah. Jump in, please.
So it's important. As a young officer, let me back up when I was a chauffeur. So we took the captain's test. I told him 100 times, you need to hear this. So chiefs go down there to make sure their guys do good. It's kind of a prideful thing. And when you come out, you look for your chief or you look for your captain. Hey, I did well. So my chief, I come out and I said, Chief Hooker goes, "How'd you do?" I said, "I did good." He goes, what's good? And I'm like, I'm going to get made in the first go-round. So then Chief Phillips was there by him. He says, I've got him. I don't know I don't know what's getting ready to happen. So he walks me to my car. And from the time we left there to my car, he told me how important it was to never let the guys down that you served with. Never let the guys down that you're going to serve with in the future. And never forget where you came from, exactly what he said. I took that to heart. And before I would let him down or let any of the people important to me down, I would die trying. And he doesn't know what it meant to me that day. And then he tells me, because the Houston Fire Department's weird on our promotional exams. We have 3 months. They give you 7 books. You study 12, 14, 16 hours a day. You take time away from your family. And then he told me, he said, get in your truck, go home, spend time with your family. You've been away for 3 months. He doesn't even know what that meant to me. And I've never let it down. I was lucky. I got to go back to my same district. And I hope I've never forgot that.
There is so much wrapped up in what you just said right there. I don't even know where to start. I mean, the fact is, like, now more than ever, we need to believe in our people and endorse our people and work for our people.
Yes, sir.
The higher you get in that chain, the harder you have to work. Mm-hmm. I think that's getting lost. I think that, we're losing that ability to put others before us. We've become a little bit more selfish, I think. And for you to say that you would chew through a door for this man, you would lay your life down for this man, that is the passion, the compassion, and the brotherhood and the camaraderie that we need more than ever in this job.
Yes, sir.
That's amazing. Talk about life. He said to go home, kiss your wife, see your kids.
Yeah.
Right? Spend some time. You took all this time away from your family to promote life. You grew up with a father, 48 years in the fire service, big shoes to fill. The life lessons he taught you, not even just firefighting, but the importance in the firehouse is also you grow up. You learn life lessons. You're an 18, 20-year-old kid in the firehouse with 50-year-old men that can hit nails with their bare hand and put them through 2x4s, right? I mean, you're talking the tough of the tough back then, right?
Oh, absolutely.
But those life lessons, how important is it, not just in the firehouse to talk about tactics and strategies and all that, but it's also those life lessons of maturing our younger guys and girls in the firehouse?
Yeah, well, that's what the coffee time's for. Sharing ideas, sharing stories. And even if it's a funny story and something happened, there's always some little nugget in there. If you're listening that you can pick up and you just tuck it away and you never know when it's going to come out. You know, every day when we go to work, it may be a regular day, but it could be one of those once-in-a-lifetime, life-changing days. And that's where you might need that little piece of information to make it through that day or that moment. Not even maybe for us or our crew member or the victim inside. So all the things you have to pick up along the way. So you just have to stay, focused and listen to what they say.
Yeah, a dear friend of mine, Chief Thode, out of Bridgeport, Connecticut, now is now the Chief of Department of Danbury, Connecticut, said to me during one of our back and forths, he said, the firehouse made me a man.
Yes.
Taught me the life lessons to be a man. Taught me responsibility, right? Taught him, the way of the land. Important, no?
It is, 100%. I grew up in a very good family. And my mom and dad were so influential in me. Then you go to the fire department and you have a second family. So you take that good foundation that you were given as a kid, and if you'll bring it into the fire service, and Mr. Phillips was like a dad to all of us. I'm sure mine and his generational gap, but he didn't see it that way. So I've got a good dad and a good mom and a good family, so I come to this other great family, and when you mold that in together, there's nothing you can do but succeed. If you fail in the fire service, it's your own fault.
I love that.
You're the failure.
That's right.
Because I promise you, there's guys out there that is willing to help you. Ask them questions, and they will help you. If you fail in the fire service, you wanted to fail. No question.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think there's so much opportunity.
Yes, sir.
But you have to know how to take advantage of that opportunity to better yourself. And as you better yourself, you better the others around you.
Absolutely. And
go ahead, Chief.
And you also have to encourage some of them. They kind of drag behind and they're not as enthusiastic. And it's your job to help pump them up and make them look forward into the future and make sure there's a goal ahead of them.
Takes work.
Not just roll along with the paces.
Yeah.
And everybody's got their niche in life. Everybody, different ranks, that's what they're good at.
Yeah.
But you always want to encourage them. Don't just sit still. But if that's what your true passion is, then be the best you can be at it.
Fantastic. All right, we're getting deep here. I want to start telling some stories here.
I love it.
Mo Davis, hard-hitting backstep fireman, right? You got mentors that you're working with, people that are creating values and showing you the lay of the land and teaching you the ways that we want you to be, right?
Yes, sir.
These are the values, Mo. Go get it.
Yep.
Influential for sure. Give me some stories. You got a couple of war stories here, a couple of funny stories with Chief Phillips, and maybe, he might have poked you or pushed you a little bit, or...
So, yes. So I'll tell one. I mean, there's some we probably can't tell.
Yeah, of course.
They're fire related, but I'll tell you one. There's a picture at Station 34s, and I ride for a good friend of mine up there a lot. And he tell you, every time I go there, I take this picture and send to him. So you see this house that's got fire coming out of the concrete slab. So there's one window that's got fire up here, but not here, and all you see is the back of our coat says Phillips. He's crawling in. This was before VES was popular, I guess.
Outstanding.
He was a senior captain back then. He was crawling in to search that one place that wasn't burning.
At one corner.
Yeah. And I told him, I said, that's a famous turn. And he was doing it. And, I mean, I could tell you story. And, I listen to him, and they listen. But in a good side, he's always one step ahead. So whenever he crawled in that window, I promise you, he had 4 or 5 plans.
Right.
But that picture, I love that picture. So I'll take a picture, send to him. So guess where I'm at today?
That's fantastic. I love that. What was it like? I mean, I know, you saw Mo, you saw his passion and drive, and we talked about how important that is to have your internal drive, which pushes you forward. But he had to be a pistol on the line, no?
I feed off of guys like him, especially him. I mean, he's
infectious.
full. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All the way, full of enthusiasm.
So, I mean, were you ever a boss did you work for him directly?
No. I wish. If
We
I could roll back
always
time.
worked in the hot parts of town.
Got it.
So you're going to make fires together. You're going to mingle together.
Yeah.
And you know who's good and who's not. And usually over there, everybody is pretty solid. Anyhow, sure enough, I meet Mo. I mean, he's making a name for himself bright and early in his career.
Tall guy, probably stands out, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, just point me in the direction where I need to be.
I
What I like, loud and proud.
Yeah,
I love that.
I like that, yeah.
So when I was on the rescue truck with this guy named Foster Santos, been like 100 years. And so we make Chief Phillips is on overtime. And so just the respect, And so we're up in the attic, we're doing some work. And he tells me the advice he gives me. He goes, "Hey, Phillips is here, man. Don't slow down." What does that tell you?
Absolutely.
So, yeah. And then we just made a fire together 2 weeks ago.
I was crisscross paths across this part of town. It's a 3-story apartment building, blowing and going. Fire first, second, and third story. And crews are going on scene, but nobody's taking command, which is not how it's supposed to be.
Right.
Anyhow, Chief Davis rolls right into the middle of that, picks it up. Who's in command? Nobody. Says, "Well, I've got it." And right away started putting the pieces together, as he should.
Absolutely.
And he did a great job of, because it was pretty chaotic, fires and the towers being set up, crews coming from 2 sides of the building on multiple floors, trying to make sure, and then we had a slight collapse in it, so now we've got that concern going on, but he did a really great job piecing it together. So I'm riding along en route there. I had a long ETA and listened to it, and I was just ecstatic. I was super proud of him. I thought, that guy's
awesome.
really got it down now.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of him.
Yeah. I will tell you, when we were out there, it was fun to listen to him on the radio because you're the way you are right now, the way you were at breakfast this morning and dinner last night, you're the same on the fireground and you're the same on the radio.
Yeah.
And that demeanor, that way you present yourself, you can hear the unconditional support in your voice. Yep. You could also hear the zinger in there too when a zinger needs to be had, right?
Yeah.
But you're a forward chief.
Yes,
you talk
sir.
about it a lot.
Yeah.
You like to be out of the car.
I do.
You like to be up on the fire. Talk about that, because I have to think that type of values comes from a chief like Chief Phillips.
It does. It 100%. I think, and we actually talked about this yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday.
I think a chief needs to be involved. And if you get up there and you get involved, you know what's going on. And if a guy tells you something that you train with every day, you work with every day, and you see it in his face, you know it. It ain't going well. You know it. Or if you see the line stop moving, you don't see. Like if I'm in my car, the 3 things I always watch: color of the smoke, I watch the roof, make sure it don't fall on the guys, and I want to see the line moving all the time. So then if we got a guy cutting a hole, and I come from a district where we use the fan a lot, people think that's crazy.
Right.
But now we cut a lot of holes. So I have nothing else better to do than make sure those guys are safe. So and I get that from him, because he was always, that fire we were talking about the other day, He was on the 3rd floor because there was no supervision there other than captains, and they're busy working.
Sure, of course.
So then he goes up there and he starts to do it. And I should back up a little bit. That my guys come and said, hey, man, tell Chief Phillips, man, we wasn't loafing, but that was our 3rd fire that day. I said, Chief Phillips knows. So they were worried about what he would think of them. And so that was the 3rd fire in a row. And they said, man, we wasn't 100% for you. We're sorry. He said, but let him know that we were trying. So I think if you're a chief and you're involved and you get up there and then the guys respect you, and I think it makes the guys a little bit more aggressive because they know you're going to let them work. If you cut the chains off of guys like I've learned from him,
I love that.
You cut the chains off, they're going to do you good.
You let your people work.
Yes, sir. And you have a mutual agreement. If we ever say back up, it's no more, give me 2 minutes, I got it. They know that you've already let them go past where they want to go. You let them cut holes like they're supposed to. You let them flow big water like they're supposed to. And all this kind of starts putting it back in perspective. And I learned it from him. Like, never ask somebody to do something you wouldn't do.
Yep.
And so if a young kid comes in and he tells them to cut a hole, well, he's cut 10,000 holes. If he tells you go in to do a search, he's drug a lot of people out of burning buildings. And like it or not, that's our job. Our job is to drag people out of burning buildings. We drag them out, we give them to the EMS, and we go back to work. So he asked somebody to do that. You got to do it because he did it. And Chief Phillips is making it safe for you to do that because he knows what's unsafe. He knows.
Been there.
He's lived it.
Talk to me about that culture.
You just have to train them and believe in your crews. And if you don't, part of being a leader is having it. Whenever you see that opportunity, grasp it, make someone better because they're part of your team. You don't want to leave them behind or work in a silo and obtain all. You want to give it all out like we're doing here today. We're just trying to share whatever we know. One of the things we're talking about that fire he made, what a lot of young incident commanders, they lack or maybe they don't realize, is the confidence level you need when you project an order.
Absolutely.
So he's got a good reputation, so that goes a long ways. He also knows what he's doing. But also at the scene, just like you're saying, I don't think people realize how big this is keeping that calm demeanor about you. If he's out there in the front yard, not in a house, and he's screaming, well, things are pretty bad.
Yeah, for sure.
So he's supposed to be the calmest, coolest dude on the scene, right? As long as you project that in a calm manner, it calms everybody else down inside.
Tone.
They know, hey, he's got my back. He's got it together outside. He's not rattled a bit. So that goes a long ways. And I listened to him do that all night the other night, and he was just talking like he is right now. So it builds, even for me, I'm inside, and I'm not near as harm's way that those guys are, but he's doing a great job, and I just know, he's got it together now. So the scene's getting put together well. For sure,
putting the pieces together. So let's talk about this culture. I wrote it down. I don't make a lot of notes when we do podcasts, but sometimes something's said and it captures my attention. You talked about the fact that your guys wanted you to know and wanted Chief Phillips to know that it was their 3rd fire of the day.
Right.
And they might have been going at 95%, not 100.
That's right.
But they wanted Chief Phillips to know that they were dragging a little bit because they've already caught 2 jobs before that.
I got cool chills because this is why. These are some tush hogs. These guys are workers.
For sure.
And then, you met them.
Oh, yeah.
And every single person at that station loves the job. Every single person there wants to make the fires, but at the same time, they want to make other people proud. And just his reputation, and we could throw out some more names there,
Sure.
just like I said before, the Millers, you got the Atkinsons, you got all of these guys, Ronnie Martins, Chief Chavez. We're not going to let these guys down. And the guys that I'm fortunate enough to work with, they buy into that philosophy that we care for these guys. And we're not going to let these guys down because basically, I hope I can say this, I'm a product of them, and I hope these guys are a product of me.
Absolutely.
And so if that's the case, he'll never know how many people he touched. I told Jerry Turner one time, and Mike Davis, Captain Davis retired, I told him, I said, you will never understand how many lives you touched. And Captain Davis goes, what does that mean? I said, well, because you taught Captain Turner. Captain Turner was influential on me. This guy's in here. I said, it'll go forever. And it goes back to those guys thinking of him and said, let Chief Phillips know that we were giving him all we had.
It's amazing.
Yeah, 3 fires in Texas is
Can I tell you that I don't think that is commonplace in the American Fire Service anymore? I think that the culture. I saw that Houston culture firsthand. Yes. I didn't know what to expect. I know Houston is one of the largest departments in the country, right? You guys do a tremendous amount of firework. I know your house 68s is on the go from sun up to sundown.
Every day.
I mean, in that conversation before about you can make your bed, but you're not sleeping in it.
Yeah.
Right? It still happens.
You know, there was a news article a couple weeks ago. A guy said all them firemen do is lay around and play cards and sleep all the time. I've never played a hand of cards, and I promise you, I've never slept all night in 26 years. So you're just not going to sleep, and you're not going to play. I don't know anybody plays cards.
I mean, and for me, I'm such a strong believer in a strong culture. It's foundational blocks that get you to where you are. Yes. The buy-in you have to have. Chief, you've been there now 39 years. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're coming up on 40 years. That's 4 decades. That's 4 generational levels, right? Like, so you see, guys you came on with, their kids, right? Potentially.
Yeah, I know. It makes me feel old then.
Not old, experienced.
That I have.
But Chief, what I'm getting at is it's those foundational blocks, the blocks that you came in with your father laying before you, and now you mortar them up and put your blocks on top, and you build this fortified foundation for a culture that promotes their people, and most of all promotes the public. I know for a fact, I know where Mo stands about he works for the people and he works for his members, but he serves the public first. Talk to me about that mantra. How important is that to be mission critical for you in your chief decisions on the fireground and so on?
They're our most precious commodity. We've got our firefighters. Their safety is of utmost importance.
Of course.
But we are equipped and ready, and the citizens are not. They don't have a $1 million fire truck and 35 people on scene to do what we do. They are totally dependent on us. Whereas the police are protectors, we're the savers. So that's what our job is. Whatever their need is, that's what we're going to be there for.
And that foundation that puts you to that mind thought, and then for you to ensure, because it's hard to connect sometimes with the newer generation. It's hard. You have to have a firehouse and a fire department that has that strong cultural foundation to make sure that when they come in, they know they're checking life at the door and they've got to be dialed in for that 24.
Yes, sir. 100%. We can't have a bad day. It's when we go to work, as sad as this sounds and as morbid as this sounds, when we kiss our family goodbye, we potentially know it can be our last. And I said this before, that we are the watchers. When people put their babies to bed at night, they know that guys like us, and I hope I can say guys like I put that, they know they can sleep good at night because we're going to give them 100%. And just like Chief said, we got thermal imagers, we got air packs, probably the safest piece of equipment on the fire truck. We got gear. They're having the worst day of their life. In the areas of town we worked in, very poor parts of town, and they deserve 110%. You know, some people in government writes them off. We don't write them off. They're our people, and we're their people. We work for them. If they want to see that fire truck, that's their fire truck. And after a fire, we go talk to them and we tell them we wish we could do more, because that's the reason we exist, to make, and it's not normal for a mother to give her child up in a time of emergency. But I promise you, as a fireman, that mother's going to give you that kid every time.
It's amazing.
And you tell me, what is that? That is, firemen are special people.
I've never heard it put that way, Chief. That's incredible. All right, we're done here. Like that, right? I mean, that's, for me, wow. I mean, how powerful is that?
Absolutely.
You had something to do with this. You know that.
That's in him. He's got that passion.
That's in him. So listen, this is a incredible relationship. The fact that you have your experience in your blood, that you've been able to put in the 26 years, and Chief Phillips has got 39, and you're still able to work together, and this friendship is just incredible.
Oh yeah,
and yesterday when we talked, you said, "I got an opportunity. Can we do this?" Because it would.
Yeah.
To me, this is so incredibly special. And I know for you, it's all about passion.
It is.
And for that passion to be fueled by Chief Phillips and the other names that you mentioned is instrumental in what you do now nationally speaking. You did a keynote a couple weeks ago at Lake of the Ozarks. And I have to tell you, Chief, I mean, I know you said you're a fan too, right? Like,
Oh, of course.
He's infectious. He's infectious.
Yeah, he's unique. He's
Unique.
He's what
We'll let him go on that.
What your dad when you borrowed something? What your dad always tell you about it? Leave it in better shape
than you found
when
it.
That's the same with this department. With all your crew members and with this department, we want to leave it better than how we found it. And that's part of what we need to do is spread our knowledge. Make sure they're enthusiastic. For him, it's infectious. That even for me, I get it off of him. I'm driven that way too. It pumps me back up.
Yeah, for sure.
And everybody has their low day here and there, and then you need him, and he pumps you back up, so you're good.
Something that's sticking in my brain while we're talking is something you said before, how you were cutting across town and he was starting to call out orders at a fire, and you sat back and kind of just grinned a little bit.
Oh,
right?
I was
And
super proud. I thought he's knocking it down. He's doing a great job.
That to me, as a mentor, I mean, it's great to see the success the successful career and how people want to emulate you and work for you and how you work for them. As the mentor, that's incredible, right?
Oh,
I mean,
it's a great feeling. You know you've done something really well. And it's going to be, he's going to keep taking it on and moving it to the next level.
Right. And so I have to ask you then, because you're next in line, do you have a few under you that you like to put yourself into?
I do. And I'm an open door to anyone. I'll give anybody a shot, just like Chief said, man. Well, you come, we're going to help you. And I consider myself the luckiest guy in the fire service. When I went to District 46, it was some of the best guys in the country. Then I go to 68s. Guess what? I'll never leave. I'll never leave. And anybody, including our firefighters, could step up in my position today. They're so well trained. I mean, we've got these old school, Captain Schroeder, Captain Mario, we got Captain Novicki. These guys have got it together. But the firefighters, the Wally Hayes, the Dustin Grays, they could step right in and take over because they have that passion too. And when we get a new rookie, we just kind of stay out of their way. Every once in a while we get to go there and have fun with them, but those guys take it, and that's our next level. And
are you excited?
Oh yeah. How could I not be?
I know.
I tell you what, and this is Mo Davis in a nutshell. I want my mom and dad to be proud of me, and I want guys like this to be proud of me. If that happens, I made it, man.
Life is good.
It's good. I've been fortunate. I've drugged people out of burning buildings. I've got to put out a whole bunch of fires, and I got to do a lot of cool stuff. But the bottom line is people I care about, I want them to be proud of me. If they're proud of me, man, that's all you can ask.
Love it.
I'll never make any money, but I don't care.
It's not about the money.
No.
Mo, you smile every day. Chief Phillips is sitting next to you. You've been smiling the whole time. It is so fun to be around infectious people that have so much to bring to the table, and the love and passion that you both have for the fire service, even after many years of being on the front lines in some of the busiest departments and companies. I have to say, sitting here today is just an absolute honor and treat for me.
Well, it's been fun sharing stories and talking to you.
I think so. And I value, Mo, you and I have become great friends, and I
sir,
value you more than anything. Chief Phillips, I hope that you and I, this is the beginning of a good friendship. I really do appreciate you taking some time today to sit with me and tell some stories and to just really capture that relationship that you two have. I think that it's so important now more than ever to really pass on the passion and love, the unconditional love that we have for the fire service, and its relationships and the storytelling like this today that fuels that. So, and for Steve Sanguinoce, Steve is just...
Oh, man, he's solid guy.
I'll tell you, Affordable Drill Tower, Steve Sanguinoce. Steve was the puppet master of putting together incredible minds in this fire service that have become good friends.
Yes.
And Steve, come in here. Come over here. Get over here. We'll bring him in real quick. I want you to slide in for a couple minutes because you are a product of Houston as well. And I want you to just pop in. You got to lean in a little bit when you talk, but I do want to say this, just a couple minutes real quick. I mean, you had the luxury. I don't know, luxury. You had the ability to work with these two gentlemen also. Yeah. What was it like to watch these guys? Because I know your love for the job. You love this job as much as you did when you retired, right?
I do. Yeah.
To work for chiefs that promoted their people and to push you to be better. How important is that?
It's what it's all about. Chief Phillips, Mikey, man. I mean, this guy, I could tell you stories, man.
Yeah.
We can go another hour
Sure.
just talking about him. And going back to the early 90s at Station 34 when he made captain, we were on different shifts, but we worked together enough. And I felt sorry for the rookies, man, because I could tell you some stories, man. And not just firehouse antics, but on the fireground. I mean, these guys, they knew within their first fire whether they're going to make it, there or not, pretty quickly.
Yep.
And they went through a lot of turnout gear, a lot of masks, a lot of helmets, and they would know real quick if they were going to make it or if they were going to go to one of these slow retirement houses. So stand-up guy, I mean, just I can't say enough about him. And Mo, I mean, man, there's times I listen to Mo, I laugh, I cry. I mean,
100%.
The passion, man, is just unbelievable with these two guys. So I'm proud just to be in their company.
And I am as well, trust me. And I think we have a duty, Mo, and I challenge you with this. We have a duty to promote what you know. We have a duty to promote the influences that you had and share that on a bigger stage, because to better this job means that we're instilling the values and what we want out of our people. And there's a good message here.
I agree.
And what this is today, sitting here and being able to do this for myself, is just, it's probably the highlight of my weekend here. And then the friendships that come out of this is just overwhelming for me. So thank you, Steve. Thanks for putting this all together, brother.
Always.
God, dear friend, and Chief Phillips, a lot more with you, brother. It was an absolute pleasure to sit with you today and to capture some of your stories. And I'm sure we could go on for hours and hours.
Easily,
I know
easily,
that.
yeah.
We may have to go back to the principal's office if so.
That is funny. You guys, the one thing you did say before we wrap is how you guys used to see each other all the time at the principal's office.
yeah.
Like-minded people, I get it. You guys support one another, and whether it's at the principal's office or on the fireground, you do the right thing.
Fight back to back.
Love it.
That's it.
Mo, thank you, brother.
Hey, thank you, brother. I
Thanks
appreciate
for putting this together. And for everybody watching and tuning in, thank you. Find some like-minded people in this industry. It might not be in your own department, might not be in your own state, but you want to seek out people that will better you. I think that's the message today. Mentorship is important, and love the job. So for Jeremy and the team at National Fire Radio here at FDIC 2021 in the Snap Tight Hose booth, to my friends at Snap Tight, thank you for allowing us to squat for a little bit here and take up some real estate at the show. But it's just been an absolute honor and very good people to work with, and they've become good friends. So thanks for everybody for tuning in from FDIC 2021. We'll see you at the next one. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thanks.